All right, so my name is Harrison Benton, and today y'all gonna be taking the Stop the Bleed class. Stop the Bleed is very essential. I'm assuming that everybody in here has a firearm or plans to buy a firearm. Yes. Um, we often teach putting holes in stuff, but what we don't teach enough of is how to fix that hole, because sometimes the hole could be in you or somebody that you love. Um, the number one leading cause of most mass shootings is hemorrhaging, mass hemorrhaging. People die because they simply bleed out. And unfortunately, in today's society, people are being recorded as they bleed out. And the person recording has no remorse because they have no knowledge. You can't feel bad because you watch somebody die and you don't know what you're doing. Because at that point, you simply say, well, I didn't know what to do. What was I supposed to do? I've been doing this class free now for about a year and a half. And I've still taught less than 100 people in this free Stop the Bleed class. And I feel like anybody who carries a firearm or who is introducing themselves to firearms should take this class or a class like it. It's important. I can't imagine watching one of my loved ones bleed out because I simply don't know. This ain't CPR. This Stop the Bleed. A lot of stuff I'm gonna teach y'all in here. I'm gonna tell y'all about improvised ways that we can go around these things if you don't have them. Because when it comes to a tourniquet, you got 4 limbs. So you should technically have a tourniquet for each limb. So if you only roll with one tourniquet and you need one and somebody else need one, we got to improvise because the person next to you might not have a tourniquet. They might not be prepared like you. So that's why things like this, I feel, are essential. Topics that we're going to cover today is rapid trauma assessment, traumatic emergencies, medical and environmental emergencies, and treating severe bleeding. The number one cause of preventable death after injury is bleeding. Simple, bleeding. A couple years ago, there was a guy. They did concrete cutting, big concrete saws and stuff. He went across the back of his Achilles, and he didn't make it home. Simply because nobody on the construction site knew how to perform stopping the bleeding. Nobody could do it. Simple tourniquet. We on a construction site. There's 100 different things we can use improvise. That man didn't make it home because he bled out. I was watching. It was like yesterday. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. Freaking National Geographic on, and like I was trying to go to sleep, but what was interesting was this guy was on a bike, and he had an accident, and it was funny because I was like, yeah, this is good for the class. Somehow he had a wreck with a tree, and he impaled himself right here in the femoral artery. And the femoral artery we call the funeral artery because a lot of times you don't make it. That's why I don't have my target in here. When I talk about human anatomy and shooting, I often tell people if you can't aim for the head, go for the pelvic girdle. The more holes you put down there in that pelvic girdle, it's over with, baby, because ain't no tourniquet big enough. So the dude lays down and realized that he's bleeding from the femoral artery. And the first thing he did was start trying to apply pressure. Well, he wasn't strong enough to apply enough pressure. And the paramedics were 20 minutes out. So he's literally got his fingers digging inside his leg, holding this thing together, and he's still bleeding. They say it takes about 4 minutes to bleed out, theoretically. That man was on the ground for roughly 20 minutes. And when the paramedics got there, they realized they didn't have the proper tools to help him get back because the paramedics were 20 minutes away, and he was another hour away from the hospital. He wasn't going to make it. So they end up calling in a helicopter. And it just so happened there was a doctor on the helicopter running a rescue exercise. He was just doing exercise and ended up getting called out. So the dude, they got him to the hospital. He had lost 50% of his blood within 20 minutes. And they were trying to talk to him to keep him conscious because if you go unconscious, you can slip into a coma. You might not come back out of it. They gave him adrenaline to keep his heart pumping because his heart had slowed down really bad. And they get the man to the hospital, and they was like, his chances of living were under 50%. They had 6 people who had came through that hospital with femoral artery injuries, and he was the only one that survived. Simply because at the point of impact, he knew to go ahead and help himself. Without him having that adaptive knowledge, ain't nothing nobody else could have did. He just died. Where can I use this training, Derek? Where can you use stop the bleeding training?
Anywhere.
Give me some places where y'all feel like this training could be very, very important. Where you go
Gun
every day.
range,
Camping.
camping for sure, because we camp a lot. A lot of bushcrafters. You know, I've seen guys chop into themselves trying to hit a log and that axe.
Doing work around your house.
Yep, doing work
You
around.
know, trying to fix stuff, construction, doing home construction and stuff like that.
Give me a place more frequent.
Home.
Car accidents.
Cars is not a place.
What car?
There you go. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, with
I'm looking for a vehicle.
Mhm.
Most of us commute every day. Most of us get in and out of that trap every day. A vehicle ain't nothing but a trap.
Yeah.
When we teach vehicle dynamics and stuff like that, a vehicle's a trap. That's all it is. So the number one place I keep a tourniquet is in my car. I've seen more people die in car accidents than I did when I was in combat. I came upon more car accidents than anything. And people be needing assistance. I can give y'all stories on stories on stories how I came across car accidents where people are pulling people out of the car and don't know what to do when they get them out of the car. There was a car accident down the street from my house. In order to get to the car accident, you had to pass the fire station. And I got called by my brother to go help him, and I beat the paramedics over there. Dude was smoking, he was trying to light a cigarette and flip the car with all those people in the car. I don't know about y'all, but that was my buddy. Me and him, we'd have been fighting.
Yeah.
By the time y'all pulled up, like, are they fighting? Yes, we're fighting. We're fighting because he's smoking a cigarette and almost killed us. So yes, we're fighting. But if you're not gonna keep a first aid kit nowhere else, keep it in the car. Keep it in the car. We always in the car. On the go, on the move. Things happen and they happen fast. Identity. Recognize life-threatening bleeding. Stop the bleed. Take steps to stop the bleed. Pressure packing tourniquets. Let's talk about recent events. New Orleans.
Yeah.
New Orleans. Don't get me wrong. Some of the people couldn't be helped. I saw the video. Some of the people couldn't be helped. I don't care how many times you pump on somebody's chest. If this chest cavity is crushed, there ain't nothing you can do, baby. Nothing you can do. Because a lot of times when people get put on ventilators or people get resuscitated, they are breaking the sternum anyway. So if you were already ran over by a truck, I don't know if y'all know the weight of electric vehicles, but they heavy. If you already got ran over, ain't nothing you can do. In one of the videos, you see one of the cops, he walked by a body and he stopped, he looked down and he kept going. And the comments were like, why did he do that? That was rude. Nah, that's how we assess casualties. If I look at you and I deem you are too far gone, I'm finna go to the next person that I see moving. They got a little bit more life than you. I got to go to who I can help first because time is of the essence. So when we talk about identifying, you got to be quick. In a mass casualty situation that I'm speaking of, you got to be quick. You have to be able to know, is that person worth saving or do I need to move on? And numero uno, are you out of harm's way? Ain't no reason to be helping somebody and you are not out of harm's way. We can go back and look at videos and people pulling a battle buddy out the street in combat and they get hit by a sniper. So now you got two people dead and there's a third person that go and he's dead. I'm like, who trained them? Because that was stupid. I get where the compassion is. I get the loyalty. My loyalty is not going to get me killed from being stupid. You must pay attention. You must always be rapidly assessing these situations. Because if we're talking about a mass casualty incident, because that's popular, that's not the last one y'all going to see in 2025. It's not. So if you in one of those situations, you got to be rapidly assessing. Because what they found in the one in New Orleans, they found 4 other IEDs on that street. So if you focus on this threat right here that's centralized, what about the other 4 that you don't know that's going to go off? So if you had 13 casualties and you got 20 and it's just you cannot save everybody either. You can't save everybody. But being able to identify people who need help and being able to tell someone what to do. Because you can make a big difference by remaining calm and taking charge of a chaotic situation. Can you dictate to somebody, hey, I need you to cut that man's shirt off and make a tourniquet? Well, how do I do it? Just give me 2 strips, and then I need you to go find me something to make the tourniquet with. I need something that's very stern, that can't bend. I can do that. I can tell y'all how to help him while I help him, and then have her go do something else. And then he's calling 911. So I just took control of the scene, and I can help more people by telling all y'all what to do. Employ people to help you if you can. Personal safety. Your safety is your first priority. I just told you that. If you're injured, you can't help others. How you gonna help somebody with one arm? Help others only when it's safe to do. If the situation changes or becomes unsafe, stop, move to safety. If you can, take the victim with you. What's your name?
Tabria.
Tabria?
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
So I weigh 300 pounds, Tabria. Can you drag me to safety? Why not? You're saying you can't take it. You gonna leave me?
You just said 300 pounds.
I
I
know.
can't take you nowhere.
But you gonna leave me?
I mean, I'll call 911. I'll see if somebody else can help you.
Just leave me on the ground. You gonna call 911? You gonna
Says you on the same videotape.
yeah, she ain't videotape me. She ain't videotape me. But if you gotta call 911, you might well just leave me on the ground. It's over. I'm gonna go to the afterlife at this point. I had to call 911 Thursday. And it took them boys like 15 minutes to get there. And when they get there, they ain't got the medical training y'all got. Yeah, believe it or not, y'all finna get more medical training in this simple class than most law enforcement that will come to your rescue on 911. Tabria, please don't leave me.
Okay.
I'm dying. Can you move me?
No.
You can't.
That's what I mean.
If you can't, you can't. It might haunt you later when you see me in your dreams. Tabria, you left me. Hey, I'm glad we're joking about this, but I want y'all to know the mental aspect, excuse my language, people fuck with you. Shit that I seen still fucks with me. People I could not save still fucks with me. People I watched die in front of me because there was nothing I could do. And then you get the report on their internal injuries that you could not do nothing about. It fucks with me. You gotta make a decision sometimes, and it will stay with you. But in your heart of heart, you made the best decision possible. The worst thing, and Derek, I'll use the cop, so I know you know what I'm going to say. The worst thing to ever have to do is make a call on a child. That is the worst thing. That is the number one thing, to make a call on a child. Wear gloves if you can. If you get blood on you, be sure to clean any part of your body that the blood has touched. Tell the healthcare provider that you got blood on you and follow his or her directions. So I gave everybody gloves, nitrile gloves. Anybody know why we don't use latex?
People
That's
alert.
What if you don't got gloves? What can you do if you don't have gloves?
Yes, you can emphasize.
How?
I mean, if you have something else that you can go through with, or you go ahead and do it and go and wash up real quick.
That's it.
Go ahead and do it. The reason I wouldn't improvise gloves is because I don't think he want me digging in him with something that ain't sanitary. My hands are gonna be the next closest thing to sanitary besides gloves. Now, the caveat or the double-edged sword is if you got a fresh cut on your hands and you got to go play in somebody's blood. It's called a good faith at this point. That's between you, him, and God. I can't tell you what to do if you got an open wound on your hand. But If you have to use your hands, immediately clean your hands. And when they get there, let them know that you had cross-contamination with that person's blood. They say blood, I say bodily fluid. Because all of our bodily fluid contains DNA, which can carry all kind of parasitic germs. If you get cross-contaminated with anybody's bodily fluid, wash it and let somebody know. Because they coming. It might take them all day, but they coming eventually. While emergency medical service, EMS, personnel would have a host of diagnostic tools, treatments, devices, and medications that wouldn't fit in the average first aid kit. The goal of professionals and non-professionals are the same when it comes to dealing with serious traumatic or medical emergencies. And that's to stabilize or improve the patient's current condition and get them to the emergency room as quick and safely as possible. EMS, when you dial 911, depending on what you tell the operator, dictates how fast EMS comes. And it also dictates who comes first. In a medical emergency, we want red lights to come first. But if you call and the first thing you say is, my neighbor just got shot 16 times, who do you think is going to pull up first?
Police.
The blue light's coming first. I ain't nothing wrong with that. But if your neighbor's still holding on, you kind of want the blue lights to come first.
Blue lights ain't coming to the scene.
They not coming to the scene to say, you already know if the scene's safe or not. My neighbor is critically injured. He needs medical attention ASAP. Now, when the red lights get there, they're going to ask, Derek, what happened to your neighbor? He was shot 16 times. Then they're going to dispatch the blue lights. This already cleaned up. Now your neighbor got a greater chance of living and the blue lights will come and do their report. A lot of times we let traumatize us. We get tunnel vision, so we're not thinking clearly. And we aren't able to articulate the things that we need to articulate. One, because you can't say what you don't know. If nobody's taught you how to make a 911 call accurately get help, you can't do it. You're just gonna go with what you know. Man, my neighbor just got shot. I just watched a man get shot. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just you weren't showing another way. So understanding that EMS has certain protocol they got to go through, you got to understand that the minute you call them, you got to be able to give them as much information as possible. Because it could take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes for them to actually arrive. Second part to this is, are you able to give that person help until they get there? Because if you're doing CPR, you're going to be doing CPR for 30 to 45 minutes. By law, you're not allowed to stop giving someone CPR until medical help arrives. If you don't do push-ups, I'm here to tell you now, you're going to get tired.
Is that why they tell you to switch off if it's somebody else there?
Absolutely. 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 If you aren't physically fit and you don't do some kind of exercise, helping people is not going to be in your best interest. It's just not going to be in your best interest because body mass is dead weight. You got to move it. You got to pump on somebody's chest. If it's a mass casualty situation, you probably got to run. And adrenaline is only going to help you a little bit. So just keep all that in mind. Similarities with professionals. Like the professionals, in the event of a serious medical or traumatic emergency, it won't be necessary for us to diagnose the illness or injury to the degree that will be accomplished in the emergency room. You're not in the emergency room. You're an immediate responder. You was first there, or it's you. You don't even have the tools that they have in the emergency room. All you got is what's on you. So the goal here is to make it out alive. That's the goal. You ain't no surgeon. You ain't a doctor. Doctors, anybody had doctors? You a doctor, ain't you? Yeah, we got one. Huh?
Not a medical.
Not a medical doctor. There we go. Okay. Wait, you're not a medical doctor or professional. Your goal is to make it out alive. That's the goal. So when you sitting up there trying to do all this extra stuff, look, man, patch it up, fix it. Everybody in here done Jerry rigged something. I don't care if you put an aluminum foil back on the TV antenna back in the day. You've done something. You've done something. Fixing yourself is the same way. You need to fix yourself enough to where you stay alive, or the person that you're helping, you need to fix them up enough to where they stay alive. Don't be trying to do nothing long and drawn out, because that's when we start going into unnecessary protocol. We're doing administrative work that you don't have to do. Also, like the professionals, our number one priority is to account for our own personal safety. That's in here like 30 times. Because we cannot stress enough that your personal safety is far more important than you helping somebody, unless it's your wife or your kids. And of course, we're going to put our little pride to the side and make the sacrifices we got to make. If it's somebody that I don't know, listen, I love you, but I got to help me first. I only got one tourniquet, bud, and I'm going to have to put that on me. We'll figure out you later. Can't be mad at that. I can't be mad that you want to fix yourself before you fix me. This is what it is. It's the preservation of life. It's a natural occurrence. You trying to save yourself is very natural. In addition to determining scene safety, professionals and non-professionals alike are going to need to evaluate and treat their patient for any immediate life threats. Assess the ABCs of airway, breathing, and circulation. Make rapid corrections if any of those systems are not working properly. While the professionals might have more tools and training, non-professionals can still stop severe bleeding, open an airway, or restart a heart with nothing more than their hands and the tools that can fit into a first aid kit no larger than a shoebox. My first aid kit is smaller than the shoebox. But I got nothing here to fix me. Fix you.
Where did you get?
This
Yes.
came from my medic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my
But,
medic is a good company.
But I'm not going to tell y'all to go to my medic.
Okay.
My medic is a decent company. I would never use Great Again.
Oh,
Really?
Definitely. So this cost me, I got it on sale, right? Cost me about $100. When I bought it, it wasn't nothing more than just a first aid kit. This I now sell on my website. It is smaller, but this is an actual trauma kit. That at I'm gonna say 20. At $120, that didn't come with a tourniquet. It didn't come with a chest seal. It didn't come with the quick clot. It didn't come with the traumatic things, the traumatic injury things that I need for my kids. This is not a trauma kit. No, it's a good first aid kit. We'll take it to the beach when we're on family vacation.
okay.
You know, the kids that got sunburn and stuff and the booze. It worked fine.
Oh, okay.
Expensive as
No, man,
hell.
get your paper cut. You got it cut.
I got you. I added my chest seal. I added my quick clot gauze. I added my Israeli bandage. Man, this stuff got like topical ointment. The band-aids are excellent, though. The band-aids in here are excellent. It's $100 kit. These are great band-aids. Great band-aids. If you looking for a good band-aid kit, let me tell y'all something. My medic got you covered, baby. My medic all day. But for the money that I spent on this, it sucked for me to have to go back, because if you buy the actual quick clot gauze, I'm gonna pass that around. Man, that stuff right there, if you don't find it on sale, that little pack right there is $50. I already paid $100 for this. And I had to spice it up. I had to juice it up to get it to my standards. And I was just like, a lot of this stuff in here, and because I'm a firearms instructor, it works. People get they cut all the time, and it worked for me. It come with some shears, but I went and bought some high-speed SOG shears. It's like a multi-tool almost. It does a little bit more than the basic shears. But this simple trauma kit here, as simple as it is, you got a tourniquet, you got trauma shears behind it, you got an emergency bandage, you got heat blanket, you have 2 chest seals, 2 wound packing gauze, and 2 sets of gloves. And it costs less than that. And it ain't that big. That kit that big because I got a lot of extra stuff in there that I don't need. So when I bought it, I felt like I was making a good idea. I mean, I felt like I was making a good decision. I'm making a horrible decision. I mean, horrible.
I was
But
so gonna get
actually, it
one.
was a good decision. Because what it did is help you know what's not in there and a way to redo it so that you could do it better.
Absolutely. Now they do have an option that you can go in there and pick, but it's like my medic makes their own stuff, so it's way more expensive than it needs to be because you're paying for their brand name. I would never buy another one. I would never buy another My Medic kit again. North American Rescue is just, I sell their products now and it's way better. Differences with professionals. The difference between, an obvious difference between professionals and non-professionals is that professionals may be able to count on more sophisticated devices to assist them during patient assessments. This Lucas device right here. Y'all want to guess how much this Lucas device costs?
I want to know what it is.
Somebody pull out a phone and Google Lucas device and give me the price on it.
Lucas device.
That's the Lucas 2, second generation right there.
Oh, okay. All right, then.
Go on and share it with them.
Now, okay. This number says $34,000.
Yeah.
But I see something else that's $395. So maybe that's the Temu version of the
That's a Temu version. You get that one on Wish.
But yeah, it's between 12,000 and 34 at the highest. 12,000 at the lowest.
$36,000.
So the Lucas device is kind of, it's
I didn't know what it was.
it's a CPR aid, basically. This is what you put on somebody and it continues to do CPR. But it costs $30,000.
That's more than a person. Oh, I'm sorry. I just was not
Well, a
Derek.
defibrillator is a little.
Hey,
don't
Derek.
say it.
Hey, Derek. All right.
Save it for later.
All right. Now, I don't know what it's called, but they got these new machines now that they jumpstart your heart and it got instructions on it. You put a patch here and then a patch on the side and take you stand back and it resuscitates people. Man, that stuff expensive. That stuff expensive. When I can get 6 of us to do this. Because I ain't got $30,000 to waste on this. To me, that's a waste. Because one, if you need CPR, and I tell somebody, hey, Derek, go get that Lucas device out of my car prior to the day. But you know what a Lucas device was? You're going to be looking at me like, what? Go
Well,
get
no, that's
what?
what I just said to you.
Yeah, but see, it's always funny when I tell my students go look up what a Lucas device, how much it costs. It's like,
Oh,
what?
so it straps under the victim and that goes
Yep.
over the top.
Yep, this part right here does the chest compressions. Actually, y'all can't see it, but right here, there's actually a torso, and it's kind of telling you where to put it so that this actually does the chest compressions for you. But again, it's $35,000.
And then,
What you will find though, looking around, medical devices cost a lot of money. Everybody know about the healthcare crisis we have here in America, but don't nobody know about the healthcare equipment crisis. Nobody talks about how much the equipment costs. It's high as shit. What? A tourniquet, a good quality tourniquet costs $30.
Yep.
And you know what's crazy? If you put a tourniquet on somebody and a paramedic pick them up, you don't get your tourniquet back, and they don't replace it. They don't give you no replacement tourniquet for being a good Samaritan. No.
If they're gonna get that back to you, what it?
Definitely. Especially if it's working and they gotta take them, your $35,000 is gone, baby.
Come on, like, oh my God, you better get
no,
my
that's
stuff back.
I'm following an ambulance. I'm going, hey, that's my uncle. I gotta go with him. What? Yeah, I'm going with him.
I'm following y'all.
Oh,
Are y'all done with that Lucas device?
Right.
Y'all can get back on taking it. How y'all want to do it?
Let's switch out. You need something to get it.
He in recovery now with my Lucas device. I paid good money for that, but seriously. You spend $100 and something on the first aid kit and you use it all and you get none of it back. Like, just keep that in mind. One other interesting difference between professionals and non-professionals is that even in the most remote locations, the emergency room might be no more than 60 minutes away for EMS professional. Anybody know how much a helicopter ride costs?
People don't even want to pay. Yeah, I'm saying people don't even want to pay for ambulance ride. They're like, I'm okay.
Your insurance company
That's
like,
why
couldn't you
you
walk?
walk out.
To get the bird off the ground costs about $300,000. To get the bird off the ground. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
To get the bird in the air, it costs about $300,000. So depending on where you at, and how extensive the rescue is, we going up. We going up. When you are outside of the golden hour, anybody know what the golden hour is? Yeah. Well, outside of urban and suburban areas, millions of U.S. citizens are outside of the golden hour. The golden hour is the time that it takes for EMS to get to you, and you can actually get to the hospital. Yep.
Like if you was in Appalachia somewhere.
Well, heck, you can be in the country.
Yeah, countryside.
Yeah. You can go to one of those small country towns where they only got 2 police. You outside the golden hour for real. Just saying. Canoe trips, you might find yourself literally days from EMS support. That might mean that as a non-professional, you may need to conduct a few tasks that even the guys in the back of the ambulance don't do, such as closing and protecting a severe location, which is basically suture. I had an instructor one day. He was trying to be a hero. Still love my guy. But he was trying to demonstrate how not to put your hand on a gun. And the slide bit him. And cut the web of his hand open all the way back. He had to go to the truck and stitch himself up to go to the hospital. But he want to be a tough guy. You want to be a tough guy. Granted, we both had extensive medical training. So some of the things that we're able to do, it works. I'm not saying I'm going to do it on y'all, but I have had extensive medical training beyond this little presentation. I think I was actually one of the last groups in the Army that did live IV sticks. After we went through, they stopped doing live IV sticks because now everybody sticks a dummy. I said, why? We had to stick our buddy. So if Derek was over there sleeping and I was sitting beside him, guess who had to stick me? Sleeping Derek. He had to come and stick me. And I was like, hey, man, you gonna stay up. You gonna stay your ass up. Look, you gotta stick me to this needle. And then, what's your name? Quinn? Yeah. If Quinn had rolling veins and his buddy couldn't stick him, I had to go over there. You got good veins. He gotta stick you. It's just like, hey man. That was probably one of the most scary things I had to do in the military. It was like, yeah, everybody in here gonna give each other IV. Who? Give what?
You like it? I'm fine. Thank you.
This is a crash course. Y'all teaching us this in one day. But in the long run, it all paid off. I can give IV, I can do needle chest decompression. I can do quite a few things because when I got deployed, I was actually the combat lifesaver for my convoy. So I went through extensive training, how to set up landing zones and treat all kind of wounds.
It's probably not the time, but
It's always the time.
Yeah, I'm old, so it has to come with something. If you wanted to, where is the best place for you to go to learn? Because that's one of the things that's really been heavy for me is learning, how to suture or how to do basic. I'm not trying to be a, medic, but basic, that kind of stuff. How do you, is it a place that you would go and say, let me take a class so I can kind of learn?
There's a company here, their name is Whiteside Tactical. They are actual combat medics, still in the military right now. They do TCC, Tactical Combat Lifesaver Training. They do more extensive medical training. I don't do it because I'm not a trained professional. I'm trained for me.
Right.
But Whiteside Tactical is a good company if you want to go and get that extensive training. They do that. That's the only company I know here locally. I think you can go look up a BLS course, Basic Lifesaver course. BLS course would be a good course for you to take. Those two, Whiteside offers a multitude of classes, and BLS. A lot of people give BLS classes, but they cost you to pay for it. So those two. But I agree, it's It's need to know stuff.
Yeah, when you hear about like preparedness and different stuff like that, you hear people talk about everything
Mm-hmm.
but that. And for me, that's key. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on a more extensive first aid course. The problem I got is people don't show up. So if I'm investing my time, my money in it, and people don't show up, it's a waste. Because I'm always taking classes to refresh my knowledge. Because there's more things outside of stop and bleed. It starts with a good assessment. Like I said earlier, being able to analyze and identify situations. In my pistol class, I'm talking about identifying threats. In medical classes, we're talking about identifying the patient. What's wrong with the patient? That assessment is going to set you up for success or it's going to set you up for failure. Because if you do a poor assessment and you misjudge something, especially if you're outside the golden hour, or you outside 30-minute window, this could be detrimental to somebody. And you always only do what you know how to do. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. I always tell people, I promise you it's okay to not know. It is really okay to not know. It's okay to not know how to put a tourniquet on. Well, it's not really okay to not know that. It's okay. If you don't know it, don't do it. Man. I'd rather you sit there and talk to me and tell me, keep holding on, than you start trying to work on me and you don't know what you're doing. Because if you don't know how to suture and you start poking me with a needle, I'm probably going to fight you. Just how it's going to go down. Assessing the situation. Determine the scene safety. Determine the need for additional resources, including calling 911 or dispatching someone to seek additional manpower. What if you're helping somebody and then you're trying to get somebody to help you and they're not cooperating and you really need help? What do you do?
Yeah.
If you're helping somebody, like somebody's hurt, they have a medical emergency, you're helping them, but you need additional help. Something simple like going to get a phone or going to help somebody else. What do you do if the person that you're trying to get to help you is being non-compliant? Maybe that the person on the ground is their boss, and they want him to die. They just hate him.
Right.
He just hate him. Quinn, don't do CPR on him. No, I'm not getting your phone. Your phone in the car. You let him die. We'll tell your wife he didn't make it. What do you do? How do you handle that? What is the best you can do? They want that person to die. They don't want you. Talk to them. You're giving me solutions, but no solutions. Like, what would you do? Your boss is dying. Quinn want him dead, and he is not trying to help you.
And y'all the only ones there.
This man needs direct attention, and Quinn is the only person who can bridge this gap for you. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna be mad at you, Quinn, just so you know. I'm just telling you right now that you already fell out.
For me, I guess I would do the best I can to stabilize the situation and then go and get, okay, dude, never mind, I got it. You know, handle that, come back, and keep dealing with my victim.
But, okay, so how do you do that in a situation where you said if you're doing compression, you're not supposed to stop?
That make the situation sticky.
No, it makes him dead and me and Quinn fight.
So I was in a situation before, and it wasn't that they didn't want to help. They was too afraid. They were just in panic mode.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually had to call 911, put my cell phone down, had it on speakerphone, and I was doing CPR. I'm doing compressions, and I'm talking to them, which was hard because I'm still trying to count in my head.
Right.
So like I'm talking, and I'm saying the numbers, and
then
I'm
they say 15, and then they throw y'all off.
Yeah, and I'm talking to them, and I'm doing that way too. So that's how I had to do it because the other people in the room were just total panic. All the screaming and running around, and, And I did say, hey, you call.
2 words: risk mitigation. Risk mitigation. If you're not doing CPR, you must mitigate the associated risk with someone who is non-compliant. Maybe they don't want the person to die. Maybe they in shock. Their response is great. Stabilize the person to the best you can and go seek help or do whatever else you need to do. Because sitting there waiting on somebody who is non-compliant for whatever reason, you wasting more time dealing with this non-compliant person than you are just trying to stabilize them and go move. Because if that non-compliant person wasn't there anyway, you still had to make an executive decision. Just take that risk out. And if you weren't here, I would still have to figure this out. Most time, our phone is with us. Most time. Quinn, you learned something good, obviously, because I tell people if you dial 911, I always put them on speakerphone. Because 911 is an automated recorder. As soon as you press the 1, although that call has not went through, it's connecting. A lot of times when you dial 911, when you press the 1, you notice there's complete silence. Sometimes it don't ring, it's just complete silence. It's being recorded. So if you put your phone on speakerphone, it's recording everything in the environment. So whether you're in a situation or you're helping somebody, you're on speakerphone. The number one thing to do if you come across somebody unconscious and you're dialing 911 is when the call connects, ask them if they need help and if you can help them. That way you have proof that that person was unresponsive. What's your name, bro? Jamil. Jamil.
Yeah.
So you come across somebody, they got a gunshot wound to the torso, and you ask them, can I help you? And they say no. But you know for a fact that he's probably going to die because of how he's bleeding. You say no, he refuses your help. What do?
I'm calling 911 and I'm making sure that they can hear his response to when I ask him that question again. Let them know that I did try to help him and I didn't just let him just sit there.
So he started falling unconscious. You already hung up. No, one though.
Recorded. I don't want that sounds bad. I'm trying to show hey man. Okay, no.
You already said it.
No.
Hey, bro,
I'll try to help him.
it can't be
I'll try to help
deleted.
him. I'll try to help him.
You can't backspace this one, buddy.
I'll try to help
You
him.
can't backspace this one, buddy.
I'm also
Record
not
it.
in trouble to show
The young generation.
that I didn't help this man. I'll try my best to help him. And then I don't want them to say that I didn't try to help him.
Who gonna say that?
Right.
You recorded
I
it.
think it's what you said earlier, to show they weren't responsive.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I'll try my best to help him, of course. But yeah.
I asked you won't help it. You say, no, I'm going to call 911 and say, it's somebody here and they may or may not need some help. And I'm done. I'm out.
Don't record him, bro. If I don't give you no more advice in this class, don't record him. They already told you they didn't need help. Don't record him.
It's just in my mind, I'm thinking insurance purposes for me is I don't want them to be
I want you
oh,
to,
you didn't help this person.
I just want you to stop thinking all that other stuff. Just don't record him. Just don't record him. You can't get in trouble for not helping somebody. You get in more trouble for helping somebody than you do for not helping them. If they refuse your help, let them die.
Even doctors have got to sue for helping people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Which is why a lot of times if people say, is there a doctor? A lot of times doctors, it'll be 90 doctors in the room and everybody going to be quiet as a mouse.
Ain't nobody going to say nothing.
Yeah.
People have died, got resuscitated, and sued the person who resuscitated them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't want to live. You brought me back. Let them die, bro. Don't record it. Don't record it. Nobody wants to see their family member die after they refuse your help. Nobody wants to see their family member die because it's on your phone. Because once it get posted, bro, it can't be deleted. It's gone. I mean, but if I steal your phone and I leak it, your phone ain't a safe place. Where you live, man? Your phone ain't a safe place. You think your phone is safe?
Nah.
Me and Derek know hackers in China right now, baby. We'll pull it all off. That little stuff you don't want us to see. Put it out there. Then we hit your bank account. Hey, Jamil, we need 100,000. We make this go away for you. Make this go away. You ain't got it. And they exploit you. Your phone ain't a safe place, brother. Be mindful of what you record. Definitely don't record nobody dying. Please. If it's me, let me die. I tell people that, and I'm not joking. If you can't help me, don't record me. Let me die in peace. I'm so for real with that. I do not. I would rather watch somebody die in peace and keep that with me before I record it and share it with anybody. I'm so tired of getting on my social media and seeing people dead. I am so tired of it.
Man, say that again.
But people have become so desensitized to it. Nobody realized when social media came out and we start allowing people to die on the internet, you were desensitizing yourself. Why would you want to desensitize a population? Easy. So if something catastrophic ever happened, people are already used to seeing people die. So you reduce the level of panic.
They almost feel like it ain't that bad.
It ain't that. They don't feel like man, it ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. It was just, it's not that bad. Bro, that's somebody's family. Somebody loved that person. And now you got them on the camera with half their head hanging out and everybody just standing around not doing that. Ain't that bad. Tell that to somebody who sleeps with this kind of stuff. Tell that to somebody who went through things that you can't erase. Like I said, it can't be deleted. They can't. You can't go on your brain and delete things that you've seen or things that you've been a part of. You can't delete that. Take it from somebody standing in front of y'all who lives with that on a regular basis. Determining scene safety. Something that all first responders learn on day one is their number one responsibility is their own personal safety. Listen, I didn't put these slides together, okay? I did not. Because I'm so tired of telling y'all that your safety is your personal responsibility. Every slide. I told y'all about 30 times. But I got new slides coming from Double Tough. I didn't do this stuff. That has to do more with the police, fire, and EMS departments, one of their employees to make it home safe at night. It is because the risk to rescuers dramatically increases based upon the number of victims needing rescue. If you got a mass casualty situation, like you said, Quinn, the police not even coming until the scene is secure. Or
I remember actually the ambulance is not coming. Like if it's a shooting, the
yeah,
police are
That's what
there,
you-
but the ambulance won't come until the police tell them we got everything under control.
depending on the type of mass casualty situation, the police won't even intervene.
That's true.
Because if they pull up and all they got is handguns,
Right.
and we back here with rocket launchers and grenades, they're not coming in.
Yeah.
They're not. Remember, regular police officers, people like this. They didn't wake up out their bed to come and die for you. Derek, did you wake up every day to die for people? As
Nah.
a police officer?
Nah, nope.
Was you just gonna jump in the way of a bullet?
My mission was to get back home.
That was the mission on a daily basis, to go home.
I did it too. I did all
Oh, you did? Oh, so you heard?
Yeah.
So you know. A lot of times they not gonna rush in. The scene must be secure. So the more amount of people, higher the risk. In this picture, without knowing anything, what do you suspect happened here?
Never got ran over. That's a
You got ran over?
She got hit.
All right, so let me give you, hold on, I'm gonna give you some more context. This right here appears to be parallel parking lines. So we're gonna say that car is parked. We're just gonna give you that.
Oh,
She passed out.
that was only my last thing.
Any other guesses?
Is that her?
Of course, she got
Her
robbed.
keys
And
and
somebody
her wallet
busted her
on
in
the
the head.
ground.
She was trying to get in her car and somebody busted her in the head and robbed her.
Yeah.
Is that
So-
her hair?
Did I come up?
Yeah, that's here. That's here.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
here.
somebody just robbed her.
But when
Wow.
It's a possibility she might have passed out. She might trip and fell.
There's so many different things. I don't know.
Me, I'm gonna go with passed out.
Okay.
But what changes my decision on going with passed out is the fact that purse is here, keys are here, and she's here. So if she passed out, why her purse and her keys so far away from her?
I say somebody hit him back of the head.
I would say somebody hit her.
Mm-hmm.
I would say somebody hit her, or whatever happened involved force.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could have hit her, or somebody could have ran over with a bike. I don't know. Somebody could have pushed her. I don't know. But I'm gonna go with something with force because because of the location of her purse and her keys. But those are quick assessments. Quick, just you literally walking down the street and you see that. Quick assessment. Is she unconscious? Apparently so. If she's still laying like that, Becky need help. Becky need help. I'm telling y'all right now, Becky needs some kind of help. Determine the need for additional resources. What additional resources do you think you need in the situation? Regardless of how well trained you are, in cases of serious trauma or medical emergencies, such as cardiac arrest, your patient's chances of survival depend upon how quickly they arrive at the emergency room. Anybody here know how to identify symptoms of a stroke?
The mouth to the side, talking, making them say, alphabet, different things like that.
I don't know that.
I should know this.
Oh,
Yeah, slurred speech is
Yeah, slurred speech. I know. Yeah,
Slurred speech, brain fog, sometimes loss of motor skills.
That's what I was thinking. The loss of motor skills.
Some people will say, "I can't feel my face." It's a lot of
somebody
it.
might say I'm having a stroke.
The appearance of somebody being visibly drunk, and you know they don't drink liquor, is a huge giveaway. At my job, a couple years ago, dude got out. He's a truck driver. He got out. He was walking to his car and he started stumbling. Everybody was like, "What's wrong?" I wasn't there, but everybody was like asking him what's wrong. I heard about it the next day I got to work. And they was like, "Man, he was stumbling, couldn't make it to the car, so we had to help him." I said, "So where is he now?" "He in the hospital." "How did he get home?" "Oh man, we just put him in the car and let him drive home." Man was having a stroke. He ain't been back to work since. Because nobody at my job could properly identify somebody having a stroke. He had a slurred speech. He was walking funny. The left side of his body was limp. And they helped this man to the car, put him in the car. And he ain't never been back to work since.
He literally made it home.
He made it home. He made it home. But with a stroke, the more time it happens, the more damage it does. So because these people couldn't identify a stroke, like you can literally go on your phone and Google how to identify a stroke. The things that we can use at our disposal, we be on Instagram. We be on Instagram. We be on Facebook. Oh no, that's Republican. No, that's Democrat. Bro, go do something productive with your life. Like look up things that you could possibly encounter. Look up how to identify a stroke. Look up what to do if you suspect somebody's having cardiac arrest. Because it's simple stuff that you see on a daily basis that you probably, chances are everybody in this room, including myself, has walked past somebody experiencing a medical emergency and you couldn't identify it because you've never seen it and you moved on past that person. High probability. Develop a general impression of the patient. After calling 911 and requesting any additional help, but before we begin any treatment, we'll want to establish a general impression of the patient in the situation. This impression can be done from across the room, and we're just doing that. Even before getting hands-on, you can attempt to determine, is this a medical or traumatic event? Does the person appear to be alert? If so, how alert? Are there any obvious life threats such as pooling or spurting blood? If it is a traumatic injury, does the mechanism of injury seem to be serious enough that it could have caused spinal or head injuries? When you come across people in a car accident or somebody on the ground, don't move them. Don't move them. A month ago, my brother called me. I'm gonna say my little brother, but my brother's 27. No, he's 28. The power went out in the neighborhood because the car hit a pole. He's talking to the guy. The guy's alert. The guy's standing up, talking to him. Somebody in a Mercedes. Choke. Come around the corner. Yeah. I'm my brother. This phone right here is the guy. Smacked him. Knocked him into a driveway across the street. The first thing the police officer did when he got there is roll the guy over. Do not, I cannot stress this enough, do not touch them and move them. Touch them and assess them, but do not move them. Because spinal injuries are very, very critical. If you don't know what you're doing, leave the person alone. Spinal injuries, neck injuries, don't touch them. Especially if you know that they fell or they got hit. Even in car accidents, don't pull nobody out of the car. Leave them. If they can get out on their own, fine. But don't you go be trying to be no hero and pull nobody out, pull, push, don't do it. If you can do it safely, fine, but don't be trying to move nobody.
In a situation like that, because I understand all that, but if it's a situation where, let's say the car is on fire, would you take the chance or do you leave? See,
How you want to sleep at night? You want to sleep knowing you watch somebody barbecue?
Well, I'm gonna say this. When I was doing it, when I was instructed, we were not to bother any victims in an accident. You know, we would call for the emergency response. If the vehicle posed a danger to that person or surrounding persons,
Mm-hmm.
then we can make that judgment call to say, I think this car is going to blow up, it's going to explode,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be what it's going to be. You're going to pull them out and try and get them out. You know, in our vehicles, we had fire extinguishers, we had all that to try and you do everything first
okay,
before you bother that patient.
Yes.
okay, that's what I'm saying.
We responded with fire extinguisher.
Yes.
We're not trying to pull that person up. We let fire medics and all them come take that.
Absolutely.
The only time that I've seen that, and this is actually happened to my brother, he's in a diving accident. And when he dove off the boat, he hit a bank.
Ooh.
And the only time that we messed with when he was placed down in the water, his face in the water, we had to flip him
Flip 'em
over.
over. Yep.
But we didn't bring him out of the water.
Correct.
Because if we would have, we did more damage.
Yes.
So they had actually put a board or what they call them,
A gurney. Yeah.
Mhm.
They had to put him on that and then bring him out. But we had to flip him over because he would have died from drowning.
Water rescue is a whole different ballgame, but you're right. People don't know. People don't understand like water rescue. That's above my pay grade. I can't even swim, so you're really by yourself. You're really by yourself. But you don't touch nobody. You do not. They can have broken ribs, and you move somebody, and you sit them down the wrong way, and that rib punctures the lung. Now you just get yourself a whole nother situation that you probably got to deal with, because once that lung starts filling up with blood, it's going to collapse eventually. Once you start getting air in the negative spaces, it's not going to be a good look. And if you don't know how to treat that, or you don't know what you did, James would have been fine with that broken rib until you move it. Because when ribs break, because of the way that your rib cage is made, it floats. It just floats. People don't know that. Your rib just float. It's not like these bones in here. It floats because of how it's made. All right. Develop a general impression of the patient. Once again, some random girl laying in the alley. I don't know why they did this. We got to draw a consensus. Okay.
She just issues a text.
Why do you say that?
I think it's because of not only how she's laying and how her clothes are, but her shoes and everything off. It's just something about her posture. Aside from what she eats.
Yeah.
I mean, from here.
I don't even want to tell you what I'm thinking. It's like Karen, I'm leaving her here. I ain't messing.
There's something in this picture that.
Okay,
It's
so-
that ring.
so
It's
she-
that-
so-
it's that-
I said her shoes was off. I said her shoes is off. Her dress, the way her dress is, the way she's laying,
All
the
right.
leg behind.
So I had to walk to the back because I'm always in the front of the class when I do this.
Yeah, that's
Now
what I
check-
said from here.
Now check this out. Check this out. Do y'all see that white speck right there?
What the heck is that?
Uh-uh.
That's a person?
That is a person running.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
I know. That's why.
Okay.
That's why I had to give y'all that.
Okay.
That right there is a person running that way in a t-shirt and shorts.
Okay, yeah. If I had seen that, yeah. But I
Yeah.
felt like something
See,
had happened to it.
they give us this small
Yeah.
picture, and I feel like this picture should be bigger.
Bigger.
Because from back there, it's just a white speck. It's a white speck. So that little white speck is a person running the opposite way. All right, now give me your analogies. Go.
Oh yeah, I
She was
think.
attacked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
If not rape is attempted.
Right, exactly.
So based upon the assessment that she's been attacked, what we gonna do? What we gonna do?
Call
She-
911.
Oh, no.
Right, yeah, no, because you
Long
don't.
as
I don't
she-
want to touch her
long
because
as
again,
she
depending on
breathing.
what he did, yeah,
She gonna stay right there.
yeah.
If she's not breathing, what do we do next?
Call 911. I can assess the airway. I can do CPR.
I'm gonna check for a pulse.
Right, right.
I'm gonna check for a pulse.
Yeah.
If she got a pulse and she breathing,
Yeah,
she's
I'm leaving
fine.
right
I'm
there.
just gonna stand there and look at her. All right, you be all right now.
Right.
You all right?
Right.
I don't know what he did, but
Right,
I'm just
because
right here.
depending on what he did to it, then it might be they gonna do a rape kit or something
Right,
like that when she gets to the hospital, and I don't want none of my anything on her.
That's what initially
Right.
when you first
Yeah,
got
right. That's
there,
first
man,
thing
I'm
I
like,
thought. Right.
Because I ain't trying to be in there for
Yeah, right.
years.
Now, playing devil's advocate in the society we live in, I might not even want to be around when police get there. I ain't
Oh
gonna
yeah,
touch
no,
that.
I'm out. I'm out. No, because you're not gonna ask me no
There's a
bunch of
high
questions.
probability I might be treated like a suspect.
Absolutely.
The big black man.
And how about this? If the other person was black that ran away, you in trouble. Because she gonna absolutely gonna say it was you.
You're definitely in trouble.
Yeah, so no.
There have been situations where I called 911 and I left. There have been times when I called 911 and act like I wasn't the person who called 911. Or did you call? Nah, I just got here. I wouldn't be involved in it.
Right.
That actually a really good question is, and
We all adults. We have to make adult decisions. And those adult decisions involve what's in your best interest.
That part.
Your safety comes first. Make the best decision. All I can do here, I already seen bro running away. I can give them a description of who I saw leaving. I'm not touching her. She breathing. She got a pulse. Apparently she knocked out. When she get done sleeping, fine. People do. If you ever seen somebody get knocked out, sometimes you can hear them snoring. Like they'll get knocked out and they immediately start snoring. It just happens like that. Determine a patient's mental status. AFPU. Alert, verbal, painful, unresponsive. Alert. Are they alert? Can they give you their name? Can they tell you what they are? Do they have good consciousness? Verbal. Do they respond to your verbal commands? Patient responds to your verbal commands but does not answer appropriately or at all. Moderate level of awareness. Like they recognize that you're talking to them, but they're not saying nothing. Maybe they're blinking their eyes or they're rolling around because they're in pain. Patient only responds to painful stimulus. Shoulder rub, sternum rub. If they got an injury and you touch it and they jump. Patient is unresponsive, completely unresponsive. For any patient below V, you should be prepared to maintain an open airway with the head tilt jaw thrust methods. That's so that they use the term somebody swallow their tongue. That's so that the tongue doesn't roll to the back of the throat. You got to keep them alert to the best of your ability. But if they aren't alert, put them in the best position possible. Sometimes this involves rolling people on their side, which is a judgment call because this is dangerous too. Access and treat any major life threats. Life threats are exactly that. Serious arterial bleeding characterized by bright red spurting blood. An airway blocked by the tongue, blood, vomit, teeth, food, or another object. How do you do that? How do you clear somebody's mouth?
Stick your
Stick your finger in it.
Stick your finger in that thing, that.
Stick it out, right?
Just stick your finger in that thing. Now you can do it. Yep. If they throwing up, if it's blood, vomit, you might have to roll them over so that it comes out.
Right.
A lot of times when people get shot or they suffer internal injuries, it comes out through their mouth. You can see people just start bleeding out their mouth and throwing up. They will die. They will suffocate if you don't do something. I know it's nasty. I know it's disgusting, but if you don't do something, they will die. An open wound to the chest or paradoxical movement of the chest. Paradoxical movement is kind of like different movement in the chest. It's abnormal breathing basically. They chest moving because kind of like when your lungs fill up the negative space, you can see different parts of people's back. It's almost like their chest and their back. Not even compressed, like when the lung collapses and the chest cavity caves in, it starts moving weird. You'll know because it's an abnormal movement of the way that the chest moves. Because when you breathe, it goes in and out. But when you got different movements in the chest, there's a wound. Obviously, because if you got a sucking chest wound, the chest it's not gonna be normal. A broken femur or pelvis which bleed heavily and can cause the patients to lose as much as a third of their blood volume. There's nothing you could do to a pelvic girdle injury. They do have improvised tourniquets. Not improvised. They do have tourniquets for that, but they cost $30,000. You know what I'm saying? It's just chances are they're not showing up with a tourniquet for your hip. So if you notice that somebody got a broken femur or pelvis and is bleeding heavily, the best thing you can do is make them comfortable. You can't stop them bleeding. You just can't. Severe allergic reactions, referred to as anaphylaxis. You come across somebody who eating peanuts and everything starts swelling up. Derek got an EpiPen. And you just borrow Derek EpiPen and stick him? Oh, you cannot. No, you cannot. A diabetic emergency which can cause the patient to rapidly deteriorate. What do? These are all really bad situations. Can you identify these? Can you identify somebody who's suffering anaphylaxis? Can you identify somebody who has a diabetic emergency? If you can't, go Google this stuff. It's covered in different lessons, but I highly implore you to go look it up. Look up what those look like. Look up different ways to assist somebody.
Yeah, because severe allergic reaction can be different ways.
Yes.
Like for me, every male in my family, we have allergic reaction to seafood, to shellfish, but we have it different ways. Like my brother, he would swell up. I mean, his throat would swell up or whatever. I would get real bad hives all over me. But it still is a severe version of allergic reaction. So you have to know how to identify what's going on.
Agreed. As mentioned, under the step, assess and treat major life threats. Severe bleeding can quickly compromise the patient's cardiac system, leading to compensatory and decompensatory shock within minutes. This isn't caused by the actual blood loss itself. Instead, it's caused by the lack of oxygen to the brain. The blood is the transport system responsible for delivering that oxygen. If the transport system is interrupted by blood loss, by the heart stopping for any other reason, the situation must be corrected in minutes, or the patient risks death or brain injury. If we deprive the brain of oxygen, the brain starts to die. It is a living organ. It will die. If the brain dies, you die. If the brain halfway dies, then you halfway dead. If somebody bleeding, you must figure it out. A lot of times, when people bleed, because we're in the colder months now, the more clothing that they got on, the harder it is to figure out where the blood comes from. Sometimes if you identify and they're bleeding real bad, you gotta cut them clothes off. You gotta get to it. And it's difficult when you're dealing with women because you don't necessarily want to cut a woman's clothes off. But believe me, if she finna die, she finna get stripped naked right here. I'll be sorry later, but I gotta do what I gotta do because I have to. It's my responsibility to make sure you're good. But you have to understand that you gotta find the bleeding. You can check pulse and circulation, but do you really know what you're looking for? I'm just checking to see if you got a pulse. I'm not counting. I'm counting to see if your heart moving. I mean, I'm checking to see if your heart moving. That's what I'm checking for. I'm not no medical professional. I can't tell you, oh, Quinn got a low heart rate. He got 3 beats per minute. I don't know that. I can tell you if it's fast. I can tell you if it's slow. And I can tell you if it's fast or slow, he got a heartbeat. Fast is really working. Slow means this man is in really deep shit. Those are my 2 general assessments. If I don't feel anything, we got another problem, Houston. Assessing the patient's circulation. I just told you about that.
Go back. Nuh-uh.
Serious external bleeding is an easy deficiency to notice, and we'll cover in lesson 2 how to deal with it. But how will you determine if any other part of your patient's circulatory system was deficient? A good place to start is by checking for pulse. Just like I just told you. So this PowerPoint kind of like jumps around to different stuff. I hate this PowerPoint. I promise you. They just came out this last year, and I hate this PowerPoint. But you got a question about it?
No. I was looking at the radio and cardio pulses. That was all, and I just wanted to write that down, and I was trying to spell it right. That was it.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right. Students will pair off and take turns demonstrating how to locate the pulse in the radial and carotid artery. Anybody know how to do that?
He's doing it now. He's checking his own pulse right now. He said, well, let me see if I'm alive.
I was just knowing where to place your hand at. That's what it is.
Hand placement. So everybody got a partner. First sit next to you. Y'all don't know each other, so y'all can get acquainted today. Y'all can get acquainted today. So in the wrist, like right here,
Radio artery.
if you follow the thumb back, right here on the side of the wrist, you should get a pulse right there. And in the neck, right below the jaw, you get your carotid pulse. Right, yes, carotid is in the neck. Oh, my bad. I'll flip that on y'all. Yeah, carotid is in the neck, radial is in the wrist. On yourself, you should be able to feel it in your neck and your wrist. And then I want you to check your partner and see if you feel it. You try to use your fingertips.
Fingertip.
Yeah, right here.
No, I got a funny story.
You alive?
So the man.
He said you alive.
Oh
You got to put pressure.
In my training of law enforcement, we went to a call and
It's not twisted. I didn't
she said,
nothing.
and she was deceased.
You did.
So
Bring your fingers like right in here.
she got a pulse. She got a pulse. That's why I was so my heart.
You did. I'm trying to tell you.
You don't feel that? I can feel it. I
don't
can even feel my own heart when you do it.
I don't feel nothing.
Derek, she's trying to get you, dog. I'm sorry, Derek. I witnessed it, bro. I speak for you.
Oh yeah. Give me your thing.
Everybody had a chance to find a pulse?
Yeah.
Oh, close.
Now here's a caveat. For bigger people like myself,
Feel that one.
if you want to check my carotid pulse, you have to go in there.
I'm telling you.
Yes, you have to go in there. The bigger the person, you got to think, I got a little bit more fluff. I got a little bit more fluff in here.
That make more sense.
So you got to,
You gotta get
as
up in
rude as it is, you got to jab your finger in there. Especially if you're trying to find it, you need to push. Push in there until you find it. Chances are, if you're looking for a carotid pulse, they ain't conscious anyway. So they're not going to feel what you're doing. So you got to push. Make sure you find that pulse.
Oh, then that's what it is. I'm not pressing hard.
Bluish lips or nails? Bluish lips or nails? Anybody got an idea what that means?
Well, you said cyanosis.
Louis Smith. Yeah, that's when the lips and the nail turn color.
They're not
Right.
getting enough circulation,
And the
Circulation and oxygen.
oxygen to this.
Okay, check y'all out. Medical professionals, all right.
Are they into some weird stuff?
They got burnt fingernails.
Because you don't know. There be people walking around here with all types of colors on now. You just don't know.
Looking at the condition of your patient's skin. So when we talk about like assessment, looking at the condition of somebody's skin can give you good ideas of what's going on. People can go into shock at any given moment based on what happened. Extreme temps can cause people to go into shock. Losing a lot of blood, and it's 97 degrees outside. can cause somebody to go into hypothermic shock. People are like, you can go into hypothermic shock and it's hot as hell. Yes, because your body, your heart keeps you warm. You know when you get really cold, your fingers and your toes start to hurt? That's because your body is starting to circulate the blood around your midsection. That's why people lose extremities first in cold weather temps. Because the heart is working to keep itself alive. That's why we lose our extremities first. Cold weather. You go into hypothermic shock in the heat. That's why I got a thermal blanket in one of these, but I keep thermal blankets because if somebody is losing a lot of blood or something, put a blanket over them. I don't care how hot it is. If you know they're losing a lot of blood or they lost a lot of blood, keep them warm. Make an attempt to. Secondary assessment. The tasks you've accomplished so far are all you'll usually need to consider if EMS is arriving on scene. If EMS is hours or days away, you'll need to continue with what's referred to as a rapid trauma assessment or secondary assessment to look for additional life threats as well as secondary injuries. A rapid trauma assessment is a methodical head-to-toe looking for life threats and what's referred to as DCAP BTLS. This includes deformities, contusions, abrasions, penetrations, burns, tenderness, lacerations, and swelling. So you're checking somebody from head to toe. You only do this if EMS is hours away. For the most part, like I told y'all early on, we're looking for stuff we can see immediately hands-on. But if it's going to be a minute, then you might need to check that person out. If it's a mass casualty accident situation, are you going to be doing this to everybody? No.
You don't have the time, really.
You ain't got no time. It's more of a touch and go thing. So secondary assessment, if it's just you and one person, maybe out camping in the woods or something, and they fall, do a secondary assessment. Always keep assessing the person though. If you already treated 3 people in a mass casualty situation and the situation under control, go back and continue checking your people. Because people can slip in and out of consciousness. Injuries can get worse. If you got an improvised tourniquet, like I'm gonna show y'all in a few, maybe it loosened up. Keep performing your assessment. Severe arterial bleeding. Those of us with young children know that in their minds, scraped knee or pinprick constitutes a severe life threat. Yes, my kid loves Band-Aids. I don't care what happened. He wants Band-Aid. I don't know why. A major arterial bleed, on the other hand, is usually characterized by bright red or spurting blood. So y'all seen a movie when people get their limbs cut off and blood just shoot out, jet stream? It don't happen like that in real life. In real life, blood spurts out with your heartbeat. So if blood spurting out, it's spurting out in a heartbeat, and it starts coming out really, really fast, then it slows down. Do we know why it slows down?
Your heart is beating. Initially, like you said, if it's spurting out with your heartbeat, then it means your heart is slowing down, right?
Correct. Which means you have to do it. You got minutes. You got minutes to do this. Whatever it is, you have minutes to figure out how to stop that bleed. While less serious bleeding should still be cared for, a serious arterial bleed, such as an injury from a gunshot wound or stab wound, can end a patient's life in minutes. The thing that we got to remember about stab wounds is if they have serious bleeding, they can have bleeding under the skin that you can't see. Stab wounds are typically worse than gunshots because when somebody gets stabbed or they get poked with a shank, like how people get shanked in jail and stuff, they got to go in there and perform surgery to figure out what happened and fix that from the inside. That's why stabbing is often worse than being shot.
Especially if you get stabbed with a dull knife.
Or a spoon.
Yeah.
You know, this could be ugly. Surgical gauze or sponges. In order to stop serious arterial bleeding, you need to immediately provide direct, significant pressure to the injury. When you come across somebody and they got life-threatening bleeding, that is the first thing. Apply direct pressure. Or you can try to have them perform direct pressure. Either or. But me personally, I'm going to tell you to apply direct pressure. Let's start with nothing more complex than a stack of sterile gauze or surgical sponges. What if you don't got it? Use your hands. Use your hands if you ain't got it. I got gauze right here. Problem I got with this gauze is if they bleeding, they're gonna bleed through this. They're gonna bleed right through this. But will this work though?
If you don't have that there.
Yeah, nothing else, right? If you don't have this, what else is good? A t-shirt. Something off your back. Cut it. Use it. Hemostatic dressing. That shit right there. The quick clock that I passed around. That's a hemostatic dressing. Hemostatic agents are designed to stop bleeding. They got this they do make a powder that burns like hell if you pour it in somebody. It burns really, really bad. But hemostatic agents are designed to clot the blood. You pack the wound, which we are going to do here in a second, and the overall design is for it to coagulate, make the blood coagulate, clot up, and to stop the bleeding. In your first aid kit, I highly suggest that you have some kind of gauze and a hemostatic agent. Definitely have a hemostatic agent. It is one of your best friends when it comes to stopping bleeding. Because as y'all gonna see when we start talking about tourniquets, even though you apply a tourniquet, you still have to treat the wound. If you have immediate access to a hemostatic dressing, it should be placed first, directly on top of the wound with direct pressure applied for 2 to 3 minutes. Now, I say on top. The problem I got with on top is everything don't happen on top. Sometimes you got to put your finger in there. Sometimes you got to go in there. And if you got to do this, the hemostatic agent has to go behind you. There's no way you got a deep hole and you just going to pack on top of it because that's not stopping any bleeding. If all we doing is just applying direct pressure and that hole goes deeper, we ain't doing nothing. You got to go in there. And do you think somebody going to let you take your finger and dig inside the extremity? Willingly. It's not going to happen, Jack. Everybody know what it feel like to have like salt or dirt in the wound, right?
Yes.
So it's a little bit more excruciating. We're going to have a challenge, especially if the person's 3 times your size. Compression bandage. So right here we got a trauma dressing. It's a 4-inch hemorrhaging control bandage. Compression bandages come in different sizes. This one right here is called an H bandage. So when we're talking about the H bandage, what's unique about it, these 2 prongs right here, when you're wrapping the H bandage, you can wrap it in like a figure 8. I don't have one. I think somebody took it in my last class. They robbed me. But with the H bandage, the way it works is you wrap it in like a figure 8 and it allows you to pull it tighter and continue wrapping it. The design is to keep compression. Maybe they don't have a wound that requires the hemostatic gauze, the blood stopping agent, but you got to apply compression. The compression bandage is designed to keep it wrapped and keep it tight because pressure is your best friend when it comes to stopping bleeding. Tourniquets. Everybody got a tourniquet in front of them, right? Great. So, long time ago, anyone who attended first aid course in the 80s and 90s was instructed that tourniquets were not even a method of last resort. But 10 years of war in Iraq proved differently. When soldiers started deploying tourniquets in the war in Iraq, that's when they started to realize that tourniquets were improvised devices that actually saved lives. More people's lives got saved by tourniquets than whatever else they were using. I don't know. I wasn't even born in the early 80s, so I couldn't tell y'all what they were using. I don't know. I wasn't here. And then in the 90s, I was playing with Tonka trucks, so I definitely wasn't trying to stop nobody bleeding. But now we have several different tourniquets. The one in front of y'all is a cat tourniquet. It is just the standard basic tourniquet. You have the soft T. You have the RMT, which is the ratcheting tourniquet. Come on. Oh. And the SWAT, I do have a SWAT. I got a SWAT T right here. Now, when we talk about tourniquets, the reason I like the SWAT T, this tourniquet right here got multiple usages. See the little squares on here? Let's see the little squares. So when you stretch this, see how the little squares get a little bit bigger? So not only does this act as a tourniquet, but it's also act as a compression bandage. Quinn, come sit here real quick. So if you had to pick between buying a tourniquet and buying this SWAT T, I'm gonna tell you to get a SWAT T. I got them both. Hang your arm out here for me. So with this SWAT T tourniquet, this SWAT T, I'm able to keep compression, and I'm also able to stop the bleeding. Because if I pack some kind of gauze in the wound under here, that's pretty tight, right? Yeah. I ain't gonna wrap it all the way, but that's pretty tight. Turn around so they can see it over here. See how tight that is on his arm? So this got multiple usages, unlike the tourniquet in front of you. The tourniquet can only be used on an extremity. I'm gonna pass this around so y'all can check it out.
I have a question on that though. Once you wrap it, what's going to keep it there besides you holding it?
You tuck it.
Don't just tuck it in.
So you wrap the whole thing, or you can cut it if you want to. But me, I'm gonna use the whole thing on you. And then on the last wrap, I wrap it just a little tight. I relieve a little bit of pressure and I tuck it. And then it holds pressure by itself. But that's something that you can fit in your pocket. You can carry with you. It will help.
So are those as expensive as, like equal in terms of money as a regular tourniquet?
I don't know. This right here came in the kit.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how much this costs.
And the only reason why I was thinking is because I thought about what you said at first, that you might need multiple tourniquets. So
look it up and tell us. That's what I'm saying.
okay, well, I didn't know if he knew. He knew all the stuff.
Nah, seriously, look it up and let us know. But I do recommend, if you don't have a tourniquet, get your SWAT T. Keep a SWAT T on hand. Multiple uses. I got you. On the back of the package too, I'm gonna give this to y'all. Y'all can check it out. It gives you
$15.
$15 on Amazon. Okay, so go somewhere else. All right.
I don't know. So, all
But
right.
it was
So,
1960 at somewhere else, so it wasn't like it was a.
all right. So let's talk when we buy equipment real quick. The only thing I recommend buying off Amazon is if you buy the actual Stop the Bleed kit. It is literally Stop the Bleed by Stop the Bleed. That's the only thing I recommend you buy off Amazon because they're sold directly by the Stop the Bleed company. Tourniquets and another metal, I would not. I wouldn't buy it off Wish because you're gonna wish you hadn't done it. Because the thing about these tourniquets and stuff, they make them out of cheaper material. And as you see, when you start putting the tourniquet on, if the windlass breaks because you bought it off Temu, you in deep situation now.
Who would buy? Let me stop.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, so they have, just so you know, in terms of pricing, they had other places, Rescue Essentials and stuff.
Okay,
like
give me
that.
Rescue Essentials.
That's what I'm saying. It's similar price. This was $15.50.
Okay.
So I was just saying the price.
Well, see, I say Rescue Essentials because that's a reputable company.
Okay.
Rescue Essentials and North American Rescue are the two sites that I go to get my medical supplies. If I need something and I can't get it from one of my wholesalers, I go to Rescue Essentials and North American Rescue. A lot of the first aid stuff I do have on my website, and I'm starting to stock more of it because a lot of people just like to shop with me for whatever reason. I'm not mad at it, but Rescue Essentials and North American Rescue are two of my top companies that I buy stuff from. There's another company called Trauma Pack. They are expensive, very expensive. The SWAT T is multi-talented. It can also be applied with less pressure over a hemostatic dressing or surgical gauze to create a makeshift compression bandage. It can be applied loosely to hold an ice pack on a strain, sprain, or fracture, or it can be used as an occlusive wrap over a wet dressing covering an abdominal evisceration or a swab to stabilize a broken rib or any other use that you can come up with. That's why I said having that SWAT T come in handy. We've all had to go get an ice pack for somebody. We've all had to put warm rags on somebody. That SWAT T, you wrap it up and keep it pushing out. At $15, you can buy 4 or 5 of them and store them in different places.